So here is American adherents to Al-Qaeda, listening to Al-Qaeda tell us to say whatever we can say to advocate for their beliefs and their ideology, but we're in the United States, where we're protected completely by the First Amendment. And so we can say what everybody else in the world can't say. And so what we do is we proceed to make a adjustment in the narrative of Al-Qaeda that transitions from these long diatribes of Ayman al-Zawahiri and Osama bin Laden somewhere in an undisclosed location in Pakistan and Afghanistan, and we start to Americanize the jihadist message. So we migrate to, I think, the first thing that we really did was we took advantage of social media 2.0. We have videos that are still uploaded to YouTube to this day because they don't violate terms of service agreements, and they have millions of views. The Jamaican cleric went on national television in Jamaica, for example, and embarrassed a Catholic priest who didn't know there was a verse in the Bible. It was a parable, but he manipulated the priest, and it's quite embarrassing because the priest does not know that the verse is in his Bible. He gets humiliated. That is still online and is a very serious incubator and transition point from cognitively radical ideas into other avenues of thinking about violent extremist ideologies. We used YouTube, we used Facebook, we used Twitter, we used all of these platforms. And then in 2010, they started to be concerned when Roshanara Chowdhury stabbed a member of parliament in Britain because he voted on behalf of the Iraq War. And when they interviewed her, they said, "You've never met a jihadi in your life. How in the hell did you become a jihadist? And how in the hell did you become willing to kill in the name of this interpretation of Islam?" And she said, "I watched two things. Anwar al-Awlaki videos, who's a notorious friend and colleague of mine, killed in Yemen ultimately in drone strike with another colleague of mine. And I watched Revolution Muslim, which was my organization." So it was really a culmination of this transition to social media started to really become a problem when the West started to become aware that it was more now a threat of homegrown violent extremist actors that were inspired to attack rather than those that were trained abroad. The other really serious adjustment that we made was when we adopted this thing called Jihad Recollections, which was an English language jihadi magazine template that has now been adopted by Al-Qaeda and ISIS as well. So in New York City, with Samir Khan, who radicalized here in Queens under the same organization that I developed, and in conjunction with Abdullah Faisal, who was in Jamaica still preaching every day over my website, we were able to coordinate this English language jihadi magazine that ran for 4 editions, and when it was first released, they mocked it, they thought it was funny. But what we did was we created a template that steered away from heavy emphasis on ideology, had radical content in the content of the magazines, but they were short, they were sweet articles, highly visceral, highly graphic, very inspiring, showing the archetypes of sort of tapping into the hero of myth-making on Madison Avenue, if you will, sort of tapping into branding mechanisms, and it became a viral phenomenon and success that was so successful that when my organization threatened the writers of South Park for portraying the Prophet Muhammad in a cartoon, and it went viral, international in scandal, the colleague of mine, Samir Khan, that started the first English language magazine with me, had by then traveled to Yemen and had joined Anwar al-Awlaki and Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. So now you had an American living abroad and embedded with Al-Qaeda, who now launches Inspire, which instead of just having ideological dissemination, now has instructions. The first edition contained an article called How to Make a Bomb in Mom's Kitchen.